colors I'm using today for this painting are your primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. And I have titanium white or white. Just now, as you can see, I have a little tiny bit of yellow because I have yellow in my bottle here, right here, but I'm running out. Okay, so what I don't like to waste paint, so it won't come out on this end because it's pretty well empty. But I like to take it and cut off the bottom, and that way I can scoop it out, the rest that's in there. I always, like to do that to my tube paints because why waste them, And there's lots in there yet. Look. And you may need a flat, I like these synthetic brushes because they give nice, soft, smooth lines. The Bristle brush is good for tapping, okay? So you can use a Bristle brush. So get a Bristle brush, different sizes, because I don't know how big your canvas is. Mine's 16 by 20, and I have a liner brush here too. So, as you go along, you'll pick out different brushes, but if you have 3 of each synthetic Bristle liners, then you should be ready to go. For this painting, as you know, we're doing a beautiful, huge tree, and we're going to have a swing on there with a little girl or boy or so we're going to have a big tree on here, big huge tree, and we're going to leave some room for a swing with a little girl swinging on the swing. I think that'll be pretty. But in the background I'm going to make just the sky, and this sky here is going to be very plain. So, and then I'm going to put a little bit of grass down here just so I can place a few things, and that'll get us started. And this will be your underpainting. And you might ask, what's underpainting, what's blocking in? Well, underpainting and blocking in is basically the same, but I think blocking is more to do with the shapes. You're blocking in the shapes, you're doing an underpainting for your background. So, terms like that will help you understand what the artists are talking about. So let's get started. I'm just going to put a little sky back there. So here's a yellow that is almost empty, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off so that I can get the extra paint that's left in there off. And I'm going to just cut off my scissors, and I'm going to cut down as far as at least halfway so I can get at my extra paint. Alright. Okay, so there. Oh, there's lots of paint. Oh, look at all that paint. Lots of paint there too. So when I take all the paint out of that, get as much out as you can, and then you can lay it on your palette and just put it on your palette, right? So you don't waste any. And then what you can do to save this one here, because you may not need it right away, so to save that so you won't dry out on you, you can put the top back on basically, okay? There we go. So you just put the top back on, and now you still have a little bit of paint left in it. Okay, so hopefully that's a cute little tip for you. Help you save some paint. So first of all, I'm going to mist. Now you can use water. Just mist your canvas. And I'm using my magic recipe and for magic mist. And I'll leave the link below so that you can make your own magic mist. But you can use water, it's fine. Magic mist, what it does is it extends the drying time for you so you can blend all your sky in the background. But you don't necessarily need it for this one because we're not doing a lot of colors. We're just going to do an idea of a sky. You could also, to keep your paints from drying out on your palette, you can also mist with your magic mist. Okay, you can mist your paints, alright? And that way you'll be able to have a little more working time with your acrylics so they won't dry so fast. So I find magic mist is really good for a shorter drying time, but it extends the drying time of your acrylics. You can use the magic white if you want to blend colors. You want to take you want to take up to an hour to blend colors. You might have a huge canvas, so that would work for you. So get it misted up. The only thing using water is that it'll especially if you use too much, acrylics end up almost like watercolors. But experiment, see what you like. So I'm just going to try and get a little bit of a blue sky on there. I'm not going to do nothing fancy. But see, because I missed it, see that how it just flows beautifully? You know, and it is a little transparent because I did put a lot of mist on there. I probably shouldn't put as much. That's why you need to experiment, okay? Now to solve that problem, you just add some white. Alright, just add some white. See how smooth that is now? Alright. Now if we're doing a sky, maybe we're better off going back and forth. But this is nice. I like this actually. Trying to show you how you can blend beautifully even just with magic mist. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's coming out beautiful. That's really nice because if you go up and down, now when you go across, you're going to get some of this white coming through, almost like clouds. I'm going to blend it out. Use your biggest brush you can find, synthetic. Look at that. Pretty. See, you're still able to work with it. It's still wet. I'm going to add some white just to brighten up the bottom because as the sky gets further down by the horizon, it starts to lighten up. Yeah. Really nice. There we go. Good. When I use magic mist or magic white or magic paint or anything that I make up with my magic recipe, the magic recipe comes first and then you can do whatever you want with it. You can add paint to it, or you can use it as it is, or you can add water to it to make the mist, or you can add white to it to make the magic white. So start off with your basic magic white recipe. Alright? And like I said, if you don't have it and you want to start this painting, just go ahead. What I'll do is I'll leave the recipe I'll put it in the description for you. Put in the description for you, and I'll leave the link to where you can get your supplies. You might have some on you. You might have some home and you don't even realize it. See, that's nice, isn't it? It's different. Right? Now if you want a few little puffy clouds there, just take out I think a bristle brush might be nice because it might give it a nice puffy cloud. I'm going to use a round brush. These round brushes are great. You should try to get some. They're over to, you can get them at the dollar store, but I got some in my Amazon shop. So I'll leave a link to those too. And they're really good. So I'm going to add some white. I'm going to add a tiny bit of red to that white, just so that the clouds are not chalky. Make it pretty color. So it depends on what kind of clouds you just want to just make a few little circles like that. Kind of flip them out on the edges here, like whatever's left over on your brush. Shoop, right? Then make another little circle and then boom, just come on out. Just wiggle your brush, bring out some little clouds like that, right? We don't want too many. Load up again if you need it. And your paint is still wet, the blue paint, so that's going to give you the shadows in your clouds too. So that's the beauty of all this. It all works together so well. So these clouds are probably going to be covered up by the tree, but I want to have an idea of some fluffy clouds, just some faded ones back here, just whatever's left over in your brush, kind of just, you can squeeze it in there and just move it around a bit, that's all. And if you get a little top like that, leave it there. Alright, just kind of wiggle in some leftover paint on your brush. Right, just that's all. You don't need to do anything too fancy. And then when that, you go back in if you want, and you can put some highlights on those clouds. Just a little bit, just a little circle from the top. See? Because the paint is wet, you're going to be very gentle. You're barely touching the canvas so that that white paint will fall off. So pick a little spot and just throw on a little bit of that white paint. What you're trying to accomplish here is to get white paint to come off your brush. And put some highlights on those clouds. You just tap them on a little bit. Tap it on a little bit. Tap, 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 tap. There we go. Might want to tap. Let's see, where else would you think they might need it? Maybe it's a little bit down here. So don't worry about it being like mine now. Just tap on a little bit of white paint wherever you want it. On top of what you just did. Alright, so just a little bit. Now you want to wait for this to dry in order to put your tree on. So because I got magic mist on there, it's going to take a little longer to dry. So what you can do is use a hairdryer. There we go. Good. I want to soften up the bottoms of these. I wouldn't really worry about it too much. You could take a little synthetic brush and kind of just scrub at the bottom. You don't need to touch to the top. It's just to kind of gives it a softer look, right? Or you can take a big fluffy brush, okay, like this, big fluffy brush, and move it around on the bottoms there. You could even, it's okay to go around your clouds. That'll fluff them up, make them nice and soft and fluffy. Try not to, you know, go up right into the white, because what'll happen is you'll end up losing. Unless you touch it very gently, then you'll be able to see how it's softening them up nicely. See, isn't that pretty? See how soft they are? Clouds are not that hard to make. Just have to know. I might soften it up even more there, I think. There we go. You just have to know what tools work best. You know, you can use a Q-tip, tissue paper, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of goodies. It's a bit too pink there for me. There we go, see? Isn't that nice? That's so pretty, isn't it? Now you can take your tape off, and I put the tape on just so I get the horizon line straight, and I'm going to put some green paint on there. I'm not going to make actual grass right now. I just want to do an underpainting, as we call it, so that when I put my tree on, then I can put better grass underneath the tree. So I'm just going to make a nice green. You can put your sap green on there if you want. I'm just going to make a green, nice bright green, or a medium, I guess. And I'm just going to put that on there. I don't have any magic mist down here. I don't need it because it's only a small area. Alright, add a little bit of white to that just to... Sometimes I add white to my paint a little bit so that it'll be more smooth. So that it'll blend nicely and be more smooth. See, because I was getting a lot of streaks. Right, so all those streaks. There's nothing wrong with streaks, especially when you're doing grass. But I wanted to show you that if you don't want those streaks, then you can add white to your paint, and that will smooth out those streaks. See, I'm giving you all kinds of little tips while I'm painting, because if I don't tell you now, I'll forget. I'll probably forget, and then I'll end up, well, I can do more videos, but I might just forget about it altogether. So I want to give you all the tips that I can while I'm painting, and then sometimes I'll do videos on tips and tricks. So keep an eye out for my tips and tricks, because I'm always looking for ways to make painting easy, fun, and unique. You know, unique different ways of painting and how you can do things. I'm going to do a video on how to do a painting and then add pastels to enhance your paintings and make it easier. So I tried that actually, and it came out really nice. It really made a difference, you know, because sometimes you love to put small details in your paintings, but you just can't get them right because your brush is too big, or it just won't work right. And then these pastels can really make a difference, make life easier for you. And they're brighter colors too, because acrylics dry, as you know, they dry dull. There we go. To draw your tree, you can use chalk or pastel. I find the chalk wipes off easier than the pastel. So we want to do a tree so that we're leaving enough room for a swing. Alright, so we want to leave room for a swing. So we'll take the tree and we're going to bring it down nice and close into the grass here. We want a huge tree, right? We want a really big tree. So I think we'll come over here. Really want a nice big chunky tree, and we will come up about here, and we'll come up. I want to make a nice, that will be, let's see. First of all, we want to get the trunk, right? The trunk is going to be nice and wide. So we got a nice wide trunk. We can change that if we want to, if we don't like it. We've got a nice trunk coming off of here. And then we want the tree to kind of thin out the top here. So we go up here like that. And then we will be putting some trunks off the tree. Right, we'll put off as many as you want. You might have another one. Now we need another one here. Well, that would have that one, and then we will. I want to have a knot, and I want to have a trunk that comes up and over, so that the swing comes off of here. Okay, so we want a nice trunk here. Nothing that's going to break. We got a swing. Right. So we just put our swing here, and we'll worry about that after. So we got to start it. Now, let's fill it in with some paint and see how it looks. Now we're going to add a little extra paint to our palette. I'm going to add some burnt sienna. This is for the tree, and some burnt umber. Okay, so if you don't have burnt umber and you just have brown and black is good. See how the difference between burnt sienna and burnt umber? Burnt umber is really dark brown. So, and burnt sienna can have yellow and red in it, and lightens it up. So you can have one or the other. So make sure you got all the limbs on that you want. If you're not sure, you can put them on any time. Right? You can put them on any time. You can put more here if you want them. You know. Just have a look around and see what, you know, what you would like on. Right? Just kind of play around with it, see what you like. Lots of limbs. So you take limbs off of limbs, right? So you got a limb or a branch comes off of here, then you take another branch off of that, and a branch off of that, and then we'll add smaller limbs with the liner brush. Now, it might look funny there now, but we'll go with our burnt umber. Burnt umber and our flat synthetic brush, because remember I was saying synthetic brushes, they're nice and soft, give nice soft. So that's what I want. I want nice soft, there we go, soft strokes. And if it leaves streaks, that's great, because trees that are kind of streaky, and we get that edge there. To get a straight edge, just pull down, whoops, pull down, pull down, pull down. So you almost need to double load your brush, which means put paint on both sides of your brush. And pull down. You can have a nice little edge on your, see, because we're going to be putting grass and stuff there. Now you can use black for the center here. So I'm going to use my burnt umber because I didn't put any, and blue. That'll give you a really, ultramarine blue will give you a really almost black, maybe a little bit of red. And what else? What else? I think that'll do it. Nice and dark, almost black, but you can use black, it's okay. So I'm going to use that nice dark color here and make a Nice round, big old. There we go. As long as it's darker than the brown. Okay, now he's got to fill in that other side there. My burnt umber, because that's the tree. I'll show you how to make that come out, how that stands out. I'll show you that in a minute. Now all this is still wet, and I had it dry. I had the whole background dry, so this is just wet paint. I didn't mist it with anything or put any anything on it to keep it wet. So that looks good. Give those nice shapes to those edges there. See those edges here? Make sure they're not just straight. They're like when they're coming out from the tree, they got kind of a curve in towards the tree, right? Like this one here. Probably bring that a little bit more just to give it a part of the tree like that, you know. So just have a look for those edges there and make it look like it's part of the tree. It's coming off the tree, so you want it to look like it's coming off the tree, right? Like that. Good. So let's add a few smaller branches. Let's add some burnt sienna, a bit of burnt umber, a bit of liner brush here. Just gonna add, I don't know, let's figure out where we want them. You can have as many as you want, but you don't want to overdo it, you know what I mean? Like, let's just get some of those off of there like that. So to make this stand out, we can make sure it's nice and dark. If it's not dark enough, you can always put black there. I want to make sure it's nice and dark. I'm just using a liner brush I'm going to outline it. And you can always shape up the knot there, big old knot. So I'm going to add white, just white to my brush. And I'm going to pick around here, we'll say the light is in here. But you'll see that when you put that little light in there, that's going to really make it stand out. So to make this stand out, we can make sure it's nice and dark. If it's not dark enough, you can always put black there. I want to make sure it's nice and dark. I'm just using a liner brush I'm going to outline it. And you can always shape up the knot there, big old knot. So I'm going to add white, just white to my brush. And I'm going to pick around here, we'll say the light is in here. But you'll see that when you put that little light in there, that's going to really make it stand out. So just make sure you get enough paint on top of your brush and pick a spot where you want to add the light. Good. So, just going to add a little bit more over here. And I'll probably lighten that up again after. But we're doing good. So that makes the hole deeper now, see? Makes it nice and dark. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some colors, maybe a bit of blue, a bit of burnt sienna. I'm just going to put them, now this one here, I like to have that come in here, so I'm going to highlight it. So I'm just using the chisel edge of my synthetic brush. I'm going to decide where I want that trunk to be seen. Okay, so I'll do it around here somewhere. Now just blend in with the tree. And then I'll just add some more highlights. So we want to separate, we want to make sure you can see the highlights. So just use your white, burnt sienna, a little bit of blue, maybe a little bit of red, doesn't matter, as long as it's lighter than what you already have on the tree. The tree is nice and dark with the burnt umber. And we're just going to add some of this here just to define that. That blend in with the tree. We have some coming down here. Using the chisel edge will help you get those nice highlights and in the right place. If you get it too light like that, then we'll fix that up after. We can just always add more dark. But the chisel edge, see how the chiseled edge is giving you those really nice shapes? Start at the top here because it's going to be darker underneath. You have to remember where your shadows are, okay? But we don't worry about it right now. Just get on what you can. Let's see, I made too much there. See? So what I'll do is I'll put some of my burnt umber back in there. But we're trying to establish the shape of the tree now too. I'm just scrubbing it on as if I'm cleaning off my brush. I'm going to take a bit of my burnt umber and put that in there too. So you might have to go back and forth with your colors, okay? Alright. Now, more burnt umber. I think that might be a little bit too light. And you can go back in when it dries also, because while it's wet it may not get as dark as you'd like it. Good. And now we'll go back with the lighter colors. It's okay if your brush is dirty because now you're going to lighten it up anyway. A little bit of blue, a little bit of red even. So, you know, get a bunch of colors and you won't get mud. You know, you'll get nice colors. Another nice color combination. And I'm going to try not to mix it completely, okay? Very gently pulling over those colors. Pulling over. And then chiseled edge. So on top of all your branches. That defines them, see, it gives better shape. Okay. A bit more white. Come drag it into your colors. The white will help you get that. Like I said, don't worry too much. You can always fix it after. Put too much on, or if you don't put enough on, we can always go back and forth. All right. Same with over here. Just start anywhere that you're comfortable, but start on the top because you want to keep some shadow there on the bottom. See? So start on the top of the branches, and just little short strokes, whatever you're comfortable with. Just as long as you don't cover up all the darks. So I'm just going to get a green color, take some red and blue and yellow. You can pick up burnt sienna, add that to it, and a nice dark green, but I don't want it to be too dark. I'm going to use a fan brush, but you can use any brush that you're happy with. And I'm just going to, a nice long handle brush here, and I'm just going to tap on, using the chiseled edge of my fan brush, just the tip of it, and I'm tapping in to get those grass areas. Now we got that nice swing there too. We're going to do that after. Get some chalk going on here so we can wipe that off. Alright. So you can leave some of that underpainting there. See that green there? Let some of that come through. Right? Just skip over it. See that? See? And that will be a nice little way to get some of that grass poking up without you having to go back and try to figure out how to do that. So just tap on, tap off. Oh. So leave some of that peeping through there. Nice and green, nice dark green. So you can do this. You should be able to do this with a fan. If you don't have a fan brush, just use a chiseled edge. Let's see. I'm gonna try a couple for you, so we can see what works best. All right, I'm going to use my flat synthetic to see if I can get some results with that. Okay, I'm going to use a couple of different ones. Not everybody has a fan brush. Oh yeah, that's good. Look, see? You can get that pretty good results with this. Pretty good, yeah. So you can use that kind of brush if you want. Synthetic. I do like the fan brush better. And you can also use the bristle brush. Use your bristle brush is good too, right? See, that gives you some really nice texture. You just tap, 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 tap. But you still leave some openings, okay, like that. Okay. Leave your openings. So all we're doing is putting shadow in the grass. Okay, so, but you can see the difference though. Right, so I'm going to continue on with the fan brush, but you certainly can change brushes and try different brushes and see what you're happy with. I'm happy with the fan brush, so I'm going to continue on with this. I like the way I left open the grass there, and that gives it a feeling of grass peeping through, see? A good way to get grass without having to, you know, try to go back in and make grass. Trying to keep it nice and dark green. So I'm just adding a bit more. If it turns a different color on, you just add a bit more blue. Blue and yellow is the main colors you're going to need for your dark green. So if you add reds, yellows, and it turns too different, then just, but look at that. Now, that's wonderful. Now what can I do at the back here? I think I'd like to just pull up a little bit of grass there just to give it an effect of maybe there's trees back here. Maybe it's a far distance away, maybe it's just grass, I don't know, but give it something. Just something back here, just tap a little bit, corner your brush, that'll give it the illusion that there might be some trees in the distance or something, right? Because the tree is really close to you, which makes it look like back here is really far away. Because you got the sky. Back here, it could be hills back there. There could be whatever you want back there. Just putting some trees in there just to say, far away, some trees. Maybe. Just tapping the corner of my brush. Yeah, my fan brush. And it gives the illusion of trees in the distance. And like I said, you can have hills back there. Just the corner of your brush, and that will give you these little shapes that look like trees. Tap up a little bit away so that you can get some different heights. I didn't mean to go that high. I didn't mean to do that. Oh. I don't want to be too high, see, because I want to be nice and distant. Get that distance going on. A lot of people ask, how do you create distance in your paintings? How do you create depth? Well, that big tree, that huge tree really gives it a nice feeling of it's really close to you and everything else is far away. So I'm going to put some grass up around the tree. Just tapping and touching and tap, 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 tap with some yellow paint so that it looks like highlights and things going on there. Just kind of move my brush around, trying to see what I can get out of it. Just you can put flowers down there. You can, we might put a few flowers around or something down there after. I just want to get this started first. And I'm going to tap on some of that, just on top of some of those dark ones that I put in there. Or maybe under the ones that are sticking out, maybe I'll add a little bit of yellow on top of those. Kind of like them the way they are, but a little bit of yellow going on there. Just tap on what you already did. Don't lose everything you did now. Just try to pick a spot. Do you want to put the highlights on the darks? I'm putting them on the greens that are sticking out because I like that contrast. If you cover up all those darks, you're going to end up losing your contrast. So I kind of like the contrast there, So this way you'll get the illusion that the grass underneath is highlighted. So all it is an illusion.